Guys, and welcome back to the Campagnola team. My congratulations. This is in fact your second GFNY victory. How did today feel?
For a while it didn't feel too good. Yeah, kind of midway through the race I was thinking it was not such a great day for me actually. And it's weird, you go through phases and I don't know, I like tightened my shoes up and suddenly I felt much better and I had some gels and
you had the secret shoe tightening and then it was
who knows, man, who knows why certain things make you feel good, but
you had
that seemed to change things, and after that I felt really good.
Was the team plan to have Conrad in the early break, or did that just sort of materialize?
I mean, to the extent that we had a plan, it was, yes, we wanted to have somebody in the early break, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so the first half of the race, you seemed really patient today. It looked like you were waiting for Bear Mountain, essentially. Is that accurate, or can you walk us through that?
I mean, so we wanted to have a guy in the move if there was going to be an early break. And I actually made a few accelerations on 9W on the way out just to, you know, see if it might be me.
Yeah.
It ended up being Conrad. And then, yeah, it was just like chill, you know, let that play out, save the bullets and whatever, you know, whatever I had, just save it. And yeah, Bear it's usually pretty defensive riding on Bear. Like everyone kind of is like, oh my god, it's the climb, and so everyone's kind of looking around and not really doing anything. I regroup at the bottom and it was probably 10 guys, maybe no, 15 guys.
Yeah, we counted around 15 after Bear.
I think that's probably
it looked
right.
like the race tactics shifted after Bear. Was that accurate as well?
It definitely, it's sort of like when the race is on, because it's hard for like, I don't know, 20 miles straight. It's just up and down. Was
there anyone you were really looking out for at that point?
I mean, City, Victor was riding great. He looked really good on Bear.
Mm-hmm.
A few other guys, a couple of the foundation guys.
Yeah, you had Will Downing. Did you have a teammate with you at that point? Was there anybody left, or was it just you?
I think it was just me. Conrad might have hung on for a little bit, but he was looking pretty deathly when I saw him on Bear, so I don't think he was there for too much longer if he was there at all.
Yeah.
But otherwise, no. There's no one. You kind of just feel it out on the road, and you see who's like making the accelerations. And
so when you got down to the move of 5,
yeah,
did you know who was with you? Did you have a kind of an idea?
Well, I knew the dude who'd won.
Yes.
So I recognized him. And I saw the guy with the Israeli Cycling Academy kit, so I was like, that's probably good.
Yeah, and the big guy was a Belgian who had won the Jerusalem race.
Yeah, no, that was not the big guy. The big guy is...
oh, it's a different big guy.
One of the Bouchard Halls.
Oh, that's who it was, okay.
Right.
I think it was Kevin.
It was Kevin.
Yeah, it was Kevin Bouchard.
He was like raging. He was riding really hard. And, yeah, he put me into the red a few times just trying to follow his little surges. And
that's interesting, yeah, because we were talking about Kevin a lot today because he won a really hard gravel race in Vermont last week, or 2 weeks ago now.
I believe it. He looked really good.
Yeah, and so how did you dispatch of him?
One of the two guys I was with at the end accelerated pretty hard over State Line Hill on the way back on 9W. And that was two guys were shed.
Okay.
The Belgian guy and Kevin.
Yeah, that's interesting because we talked a lot in here today about how much patience is a virtue in this race.
Yeah,
you just have to wait. It's long, and those final few climbs become so decisive overall.
Yeah. Definitely.
So when you were in that move of 3 and you go down Ranger Hill, you go down the downhill, what was your thought process? What was your strategy to make it to the end?
I mean, the only really decisive climb is the last one up to whatever this road is here.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like just trying to save whatever I had for that, but also looking for, when it's a small group like that and it's late in the race, people can just go pop. So like if you're lucky enough to just kind of slide off the front, then you can maybe sort of, you know, dig and maybe.
Or you
get
can be
that gap.
unlucky enough to be caught behind someone who gets gapped, so you want to kind of keep up.
You just don't know. Yeah.
Right.
So, and no one wants to be on the front, but if you're stuck on the front, you might have that opportunity to like slide behind the motorcycle for a second and like, you know, maybe find yourself a few feet off the front, and if they're looking at each other, then maybe you step on it.
You and Ricardo did have a little bit of a gap as the climb ended.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
were you thinking to put the pressure on to kind of get rid of Lewis? Or were you just kind of thinking,
I didn't really
keep
want
the
to
pace
go
and
to
see
the
what happens?
line with Ricardo because I knew
Yeah.
he won in a sprint last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we came over the top together, I was like, might as well be 3.
Yeah.
And then I'll, try something
So
later.
you were actually okay allowing Lemus to catch.
Yeah, I mean, once the guy's already been dropped, he's probably not going to be the guy,
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
So
He probably had to cook himself to come back.
Exactly.
yeah, no, I'm sure he was deep in the red.
But
when
what
he
we
came
saw
back.
from here, it looked like your head was on a swivel. You're looking over
Yeah.
your shoulder, left, right, and you're in the headwind, but you continue to stay on the front because the other guys are forcing you there, it seemed like. But then
Yeah.
eventually you sort of cut across the road a few times and snapped the tail of the dog in a way. And is
Yeah,
that what happened from your perspective?
Yeah, you're trying to figure out what the wind's doing and put the other guys in the gutter, especially if you're stuck on the front.
Yeah.
And I was. And yeah, we were on the left, and it wasn't really strong one way or the other. And I just kind of whipped across, and they didn't follow me. And I had that like just 2 feet, you
Yeah.
know, and I just stepped on it. And
That is
I
that held
guess
the rest of the way, right?
they just looked at each other, and neither one wanted to be the sucker at that point.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it seemed like Pachetta just took that moment of indecisiveness, and that gave you like 50 meters.
Yeah, I mean that's the cat and mouse stuff. It's all about just kind of lucking out sometimes.
Yeah.
So those but again, that patience is really important, right? Because
For sure.
you came up that climb, you just had 2, but you were patient enough to wait for Lemus to catch instead of just gunning it and trying to use your strength to ride the Italian off your wheel. To me, I find that really impressive, that patience moment. You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a pretty savvy moment,
I don't-
Mike.
yeah,
honestly,
So
it was,
what you
yeah.
realize-
no,
you
it's,
can take
really,
credit for
really
that.
calculated and cunning. Yeah. I don't know. Got to the top and we sort of looked at each other, and it's just no one wants to be the sucker.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I could drop him necessarily. You probably didn't think you could drop me. So we're like, okay.
It was an exciting finish.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It really was. It was very tactical
it was
at the
exciting
end.
to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nerve-wracking to do, but it's kind
Absolutely.
of fun too.
So
Yeah.
was this finish different than 15 for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
could-
No, I was alone for 70 miles that year.
Exactly
Yeah.
right.
So yeah.
So how
Completely different.
was that different because of the dynamic of the peloton or weather, or because a lot of the viewers right now maybe won't remember that race?
Well, so that one, it was a really strong headwind all the way out, going north, and no one really wanted to do anything.
So the
it
wind was inverse from today? Because
I
you had a
guess.
tailwind out.
Was it tailwind out? I didn't really feel too much wind today.
Okay.
I guess maybe headwind on the way back a bit.
It
Yeah.
kicked up near the end.
Yeah.
When you were finishing, there was definitely a burst of headwind
Yeah.
coming on. So
That year it was very strong though, and we were really slow going out, and like no one wanted to do anything. So as we were getting towards Bear, I attacked somewhere, and was just kind of like, well, if no one wants to go, I'll just stick my nose in the wind for a while and see what happens, and probably, eventually some guys will come up to me. But I still had a gap over the mountain, and then once I got over those climbs and still had a gap, I knew I could just like rip the tailwind sections,
Right.
And that's what I did.
So it's
Yeah.
amazing, like impressive sort of ability to change your tactics year over year. So I mean, again, congratulations on this year and 2015. You're one of the
Thanks.
few 2-time winners of this New York event.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for hitting up any of the other 17 GFNY events?
I would
around the
love
world?
to. I have a little guy, a little
I
boy
heard.
who's
Congratulations.
almost a year and a half. Thanks.
Yeah.
So traveling is pretty tough.
Yeah. And
but
you
I
work
would
full
absolutely
time,
love.
right?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And, yeah.
So you're working full time. You have a little guy at home, and you're still the champion of
Still
our
the
GFNY GFNY World.
there's hope for all you dads out there.
That's
so.
right,
Yeah.
dads. Don't you give up out there.
Dad Watts. Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
to answer your question, I would love to get to. I'd love to do Von 2.
Yeah.
I heard the Jerusalem one was amazing.
Great.
I don't know. Yes,
Yeah.
I would like to. I don't have plans, but I would like to.
All right. Well, we'll talk to some people, Mike.
Yeah,
We'll see what we
sweet.
can do for you.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming in and joining us here in the
Certainly.
booth, and congratulations once again on your
Thank you.
victory here today. Really impressive ride. I'm Gabe Lloyd, this is Dan Schmaltz, and we are with your winner here, Mike Marguerite. Thank you for tuning in to the Campagnolo GFNY World Championship live stream. We hope to see you again.